Okay. Hope I can find it.
It should work fine.
Can hear the birds. Looks like a nice
You
day.
can hear the bird. It is a nice day.
What is
All
a
right,
head
an ad
coach?
is playing.
There is a huge demand.
Okay. Is it showing that we're live?
Yep. 17 seconds ago. More ads.
Sweet. Okay. All right. So let's pull it
loud, right? So I can hear it.
so you can hear it. I hope so. It's as loud as we're gonna get. So if you don't hear them, I'll just reiterate. But let's make sure we're up and running. Is it showing on your end, Mike?
Yeah. We got John
It is?
Doe, Corey Brown, Travis Plank, Kim Kramer, Harold, Ron, Bob, Prometheus the cat,
How come I'm not getting any of
Michael,
them?
Jeremy, Richard.
Oh, okay. Well, until I can get it up on my end, I'll let you take the reins, dear.
So far, Jeremy says hello, Billy, Mandy, and Mike. David King, hello from Canada. Colton said he passed your parents' house yesterday and wanted to say, what a gorgeous place.
Oh, how nice. Thank you.
It is a nice setup. And why don't you tell them again about the open house?
Okay. Well, all right. People are already asking about the open house. Dad, do you want to fill them in on what we're kind of thinking so far?
On what, the open house?
Yeah.
The open house don't look good. That's what that's the only thing I can say. It don't look good right now with this virus out there and stuff. And I don't know. We're not going to pull the trigger yet.
I'd
But,
say with the next couple of weeks, we'll kind of feel it out, see if things change or not.
Give us another month or so, and
Yeah.
then we'll know. Either we'll push it off or push to next year, whatever's better.
Yeah, it'll happen no matter what. Just not sure exactly the date. But so hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry I seem so frazzled. I'm trying to get the video up, but I can't find the comments. So we'll have to stream through as we go. So thank you all for joining us. We've got my dad here. We've got Mike here. Any questions, comments, whatever you want to start the show with, we're open for it. So
Corey asked Mandy, why are you in New Jersey?
Good job. So figured that I've been quarantining myself for the last like 2 to 3 months. It was safe enough. They're quarantining here. No one's been in or out of the compound at all. So I was actually given the okay to come home.
For clearance.
The clearance. Yeah, I was given the clearance to come home for a little bit. But so that's why I'm here. But,
why don't you tell them like what you guys have been up to? And
yeah, that's a good idea. You want to tell them what you've been doing?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything?
Cars are all set up. Spare parts are all done. Trailer's done. Truck's done. Pretty much everything for racing's in pretty good shape.
Cars are ready to go.
Yeah, there's my small block car here, my big block car sitting over there, and a Speedster sitting over on the other side. They're all done, set up. Maybe once or twice I set them up with a few different thoughts and stuff, but basically cleaning and organizing my shop. And when you race a lot, you kind of get behind on getting your shop cleaned and organized. So we're doing that. My wife's doing a lot of painting and I'm doing a lot of cleaning. And other than that, pulled out a bunch of old uniforms and put them up on the wall over in the pole barn. We were going to have them ready for the open house, but that don't look good now, but they're ready. I want to hang some sides of my old cars up on the pole barn there, and so I can look at them and other people can look at them if they come. But just stuff like that, going through programs, old programs, sorting them out and papers, and just a lot of stuff I wanted to do, and I had the time, and just seems like I got a lot of time right now to do it. So that's what I'm working on. I had a farm sprayer from the farm, 2-wheel, 500-gallon plastic tank on there, and I always wanted to build a wash wagon with the water the generator and the pressure washer all in one. So I've been working on that for the last couple, 2-3 weeks, and got that all but done. Just got a reel on it. You can reel out the hose, fire up the generator, and turn on the hot water pressure washer, and I can tow it over, do stuff out in the middle of the field or my buildings or whatever I want to do. But it's pretty neat. Got that done.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's something I always want to do. Every time we want to go wash the deck or wash a building, got to get the pressure washer, put it in the backhoe bucket, go grab 100-foot of hose, 100-foot of electric cord, and hook everything up. Then you got to wind it all back up. This way you pull a reel and it retracts itself, and the electric's right there with the generator. And another thing too, with the generator, if we lose power, I can pull it up to the building with the trailer and plug into the building. So it's kind of a multitask deal, and something I always wanted to do and get done, and now it's done. And me and my son were talking about maybe building a simulator. The way racing's going, we may be on what it's called iRacing the rest of our life or something. Who knows? But I had built one 15 years ago that actually moved and everything with the video or the game we were playing. So I don't know if I'm going to get that elaborate or not, but we're talking about building a simulator. It definitely be like a race car where you sit in it with a steering wheel and all, and the pedals. And
Mike, you better quarantine yourself so you can come play.
But depends how much time I get. If I get a lot of time, I'll take and hook the hydraulics up on it, make it move to the race, roll up or pull the front end or whatever, But we'll see. It all depends on, hopefully we'll be back racing here in a couple months or a month or something. But that's what we're doing around here.
If other states were racing, would you feel like traveling to go race, or would you just prefer to wait till they open up at Bridgeport?
It would pretty much be how far we have to travel. Pennsylvania ain't too bad, Delaware ain't too bad, and I don't know if I want to drive to California or something, but
No.
or Wyoming or Nebraska or somewhere's out in the cow pastures out there to race. But I ain't saying it ain't possible, but I think I'm pretty much going to wait till my home track opens up, Bridgeport or something close.
He's not in a hurry anymore.
Yeah,
He's enjoying it.
Getting ready to start my 47th year, and we're on hold now. But if you've done it for 47 years, it would be, I'm still excited, but I can wait.
Yeah. So Jeremy asks, Dad, who do you feel was your best rival driver that you have the most respect for as a driver and a person?
Wow. Is that going back through the years, or is that present day?
I would say that you've raced like all throughout with.
I have raced with a lot of good drivers in my time. Probably Kenny Bren. We probably raced the most together, me and Kenny Bren, Jimmy Horton. Me and Kenny Bren through the 80s, we were the two winningest drivers at Flemington. And, we never had words. We never run through one another to win races. And probably I'd have to say Kenny Bren.
Yeah. A lot of people are liking your mustache that you brought back, by the way. We're rocking it again. Mike, did you get a question?
There's multiple mustache compliments.
Yes.
There are.
I posted a video of you and Mom in the front seat of the Oldsmobile. Someone had asked what year it is, your Oldsmobile.
61 Starfire.
Wasn't it like yours, and then your brother had it?
It was my brother's, and he restored it back in high school. And when he graduated, he wanted to take a trip around the States. So he went away for about 2-3 months, him and another guy with a station wagon and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and drove around the States, down to Florida, out to Texas, to California, Washington State. Something pretty cool, and he needed money, so he sold me this convertible Starfire, and I've had it since 1980, and few times I was going to sell it, and then anymore it's just, it's part of the family. We call it the ice cream car.
Yes.
We go to get ice cream when the kids were small. Now I got a grandson, so it'll be the ice cream car for him.
We tried to get ice cream yesterday in the ice cream car, but
Every
everything was
place
closed.
closed.
That was very
I
depressing.
thought my daughter was going to have withdrawals. No ice cream.
I offered to go to the grocery store and he's like, I don't need it that bad. And I was like, well, you see now.
So Patrick kind of asked, what would your schedule be like if we started racing?
Me?
Mhm.
Yeah, once they
I
open
was
it
pretty
up.
much going to cut it back to Kutztown this year, or once a week, and they're going to run. I mean, not Kutztown.
I was going to say Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. Sorry about that.
Don't confuse
Bridgeport.
anyone.
Because I could run the modified and the speedster all in one night, because they had like 10 speedster races and I think it's 30 modified races or something. And I figured, hell, I could do everything one night and have the rest of the week to kind of do other things. And that was my schedule. Now with this deal here, I don't know when we'll open back up, and I don't. Everybody's uncertain on what it's going to be like, so I don't know. I mean, it depends if maybe Delaware opens sooner or Pennsylvania opens sooner. Maybe I'll go race a few races over there.
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear.
We're all in the unknown. So Bill asks, did you race in the coupe era against Frankie Schneider, Will Cagle, Bill Wimble, Pete, Corey, Lou Lazaro, and Kenny Shoemaker?
Probably about 3/4 of them. I know I
Mhm.
raced against Frankie Snyder, Will Cagle, Lou Lazaro, Jack Johnson, all them guys. They were pretty much getting towards the end of their career, and it was the beginning of my career. And I was fortunate enough to get to race with them guys like Gerald Chamberlain, Kenny Weld, all the guys, most of the guys from Reading, New York guys, Kenny Shoemaker. I know Jack Johnson, Lou Lazaro, CD Covell, a lot of them guys up through New York. I did get to race with them when I first started going up there in the late 70s, early 80s. And, it's pretty neat to say you did race against them guys.
Speaking of your collection of newspapers and articles and stuff you organize, right?
Yeah.
He's got like all these magazines and programs and racing papers, everything you can possibly think of that has dad in it. He officially organized them all by date and by track.
Yeah, just that's how bored we are, right? Something to do, And it's kind of neat. I sit up there's a lot of stories I probably had done on me that I never really even read when they were done because I did it, but sat down and read a story and this and that. And it was pretty neat, and I got I kept a lot of the racing papers from when I really did something cool, like winning 4 races in one night at Flemington and 3 races in one night at Flemington. And, when you win 5 or 6 races a year now, and back then you used to win a whole bunch, 4 or 5 in one night, or 4 in one night was the best I ever did. But it was pretty neat, I look at guys like Friesen and Shepard now win a lot of races and doing a lot of cool things. But there was a day I was pretty good and I did that too. But and I forgot all about it really till I started looking at these old racing papers and stuff. And there was one thing in common. I told my son, we're looking at pictures, and I won the first 320s at Flemington, and the 4th one was a regular makeup feature, 30 laps. And I got the 2nd. I was trying to run the leader down. I was trying to run him down so hard. I got into the fence, up on the fence on 2 wheels, and you can see the picture they got of it. The right front's pointed to the right. So I evidently snapped the tie rod or broke it. And they threw the caution. I come in, and it was the L car, and they were a pretty wild bunch of guys and brothers, and they were beating and hammering and hollering, and they got me back out. According to the story, I vaguely remember, but according to the story, they got me back out, and we got racing again. And about 2 more laps, Carl Fryer got in an accident, and he flipped. The red was out, so they towed me back in under the red. Got to work on the car some more, got it back close to being right, and come back out and started last, and drove through them. And the only thing I do remember, the car had a right rear broken shock, and it was whooping. And by the article, I came back through on the top, and coming off the 4th turn, Billy Cannon was leading, and I got to the outside of him and beat him by by a half a car at the start finish line for the 4th win in one night. And that was pretty impressive.
Wow. That's a long night.
Talk about winning Syracuse or race champions or the National Open, but to win 3-4 features in one night, that's quite an accomplishment too, because you don't start on the pole every one. You win, you go back to handicap, and then they invert 12, 14 cars. So then you got to go back in 20 laps, in a lot of laps, to ball your way back through and try to win the next one. And we won 320s. I did that, I don't know, once or twice, and I know I did the 4 features in one night. They weren't 420s or 320s and a makeup, so it was 4 features. And I know I did it one night at Bridgeport. They had 4 12-lappers, and their
Imagine
big
12 lap
thing
features.
was if you can win a heat race, you can win a feature, 12-lap feature. So I was like, all right, I won the first one, and what was neat about it, if you stayed out on the track, if you went to the pits, you had to go to the rear, but I stayed out for all 4. And so I didn't have to go dead last all the time. I don't remember how the furthest back I started that I won, but I didn't have to go way far back because I stayed on the track. My car was that good, and I won all 4. They called them the Dirty Dozen, and they had 4 of them, and I won all 4 of them, which was pretty cool.
Sounds like a neat event. It seems like something that they should try doing now.
They were a lot more inventive back in them days. Paul Cole, we'd have twin 20s, we'd have triple 20s, and we'd have 420s. And the neat thing about it was, if you were really on your game, you could win 2 or 3 or sweep them, I mean, which I did. But what was neat too, a lot of guys that never won features, that were close all the time, but just come up short at the end, it was their night to win a feature, and everybody talks about the past, and it's like, well, did you ever win? Yeah, I won. I won a feature. You don't have to tell them it was a 20-lapper, but they did win a race. But it made a lot of guys, little guys, give them a chance to win races too. And it was exciting for the fans because you had 4 different winners. Sometimes you have 4 different winners in one night, and it always drew. I know when they had the triple 20s and the 420s, they packed the place, absolutely packed the place, and they don't do that no more. I mean, it's hard because they cut the purses so much, and you got to keep the purses up to make it lucrative. And what I seen last year, I went to Lincoln one night. I forget, I don't know, it's Casey Kane thing or some race they had out there, and it was really neat. They ran the heat races. You time trial. You were the fastest car. You start on the first heat pole. Second fastest car started second heat pole, and so on back. They went out. They ran heat race. You got so many points for winning your heat race. Then they inverted the heat. Mm-hmm. So if you start on the pole in the first heat, you start last in the next heat, and you got passing points coming through, and you got passing points in the first heat too. And it was your combined points give you your starting spot in the feature. So it made for some pretty good race, and it made the heats, which a lot of times the heats aren't nothing or just a transfer to where they were real important and real racy. And you had just say 4 heats, so you had 8 heats because you doubled the heats. So you had a lot of racing, a lot of people really driving hard. And it was sort of like a 420 format that I used to remember at Flemington. And then at the end of the night, they had a big race with the big money, But it was neat. It was entertaining. And the same thing, they packed the place for that. And just sit and talking to a few people, I said, boy, I like this because the heat races are interesting now.
Yeah, paid heat races or something like that would be pretty exciting.
Right.
And you'd know from the first heat where you needed to kind of get to in the second one to be okay.
Pater, I think New Egypt years ago used to give us points for heat race wins, didn't they? Wasn't it? Maybe.
Oh, they used to pay us to win heats.
You get points, like your
yeah. Some tracks do that though. Like if you go out and you win a heat, you'll get just say 5 points seconds, 3 points, and thirds 2 points.
Makes you work for it
towards the championship. So it makes the heat race a little bit more valuable as a race because if they're not paying to win a heat and there's 6 cars in it and they take 6, why are you going to tear up your car and blow your motor up? But if it means something to win the heat, you get 5 championship points. Yeah, it means something. And Windsor used to pay 300 to win a heat, and so did New Egypt there for a while. They paid 300 to win a heat race, and believe me, I was up in the seat driving because 300 more a night, it meant something. A lot of tracks you got to finish fifth and make $300 or something, but you can make it in a heat race.
Last year at Albany, Saratoga, they got sponsors to sponsor the heat races, and if you won, you got some money. And I thought that was pretty cool. Made it more worth your while to put the effort in to get the win.
Yeah.
But you have to make it exciting for the fans, because without the fans, we don't get people paying to come in to watch us, and we don't get money to race with. And when the fans come, more racers come, more money comes, you hope, and with more money, I know I drive harder. I mean, it incents me to drive harder when it pays more, and
well, for instance, your equipment costs money, and to put that equipment in jeopardy, it's got to be worth money to do it.
Right. You just don't go out. I mean, like I said, if you're all qualified, what's the sense of tearing your car up? Or if there's 8 or 10 cars and they take 6, I get the 6th. I know it don't matter if I get any further. Maybe I'll get the 5th and give myself a buffer, and the hell with the heat. It don't mean nothing to me. I'm not going to chance crashing my car in a heat race and for nothing,
Right. Hey, Super Dirty 63 asks, Billy, what would you like to race? What track would you like to race at that you've never been to? Is there any track? I mean, you've been to a lot of tracks.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of tracks. I've been to Eldora. I've been to Knoxville. God.
How about in California? Any tracks?
I've been to Paris in California. I've been to the old Paris and the new Paris. There was one out there that was real famous.
The one on the beach.
Nah, that's Ventura. That's a little track. That didn't look too interesting.
Okay.
There was another track out in California. I can't think of the name of it. Maybe somebody on here can pop it up. But that was a real California sprint car track, and it was right out there. I've been to Manzanita out in Arizona. I raced there. But there was a track in California. The Kadings always ran there, and it was a real famous track. I don't think it's there no more, but I would have liked to have been there and raced that track. I would have liked to race Langhorne. I never did get to race Langhorne.
Calistoga?
Pardon?
Calistoga?
Not Calistoga, no.
Ascot? No.
Ascot.
Ascot? It's Ascot.
That's
all right.
it.
You guys are right.
That was
Ascot.
a real famous track out in California, but I don't think it's there no more. And I would have liked to gotten out there and driven that track.
That'd be cool. Whew, man. Okay. You got any questions over there, Nike?
Brian asks if you know how many 410 sprint cars wins you have. I know you have so many stats, it's a lot to keep track of.
If you go on that news site, what's it called? Fred Voorhees site.
Basically just type in like Billy Pauch career win list on Google and
it'll come up. It's on there. I know I'm around 50 or some sprint car wins or something like that. I mean, I'm not even sure myself, but I know if you Google it, there's a site, and he does a real good job, Fred Voorhees, on keeping statistics of sprint cars, midgets, and all them
like
kind of wins that I have,
everything.
championships and stuff. And you can go on that site, and he's got a lot of drivers, and they're adding to it every day,
See, that's why I told your mother that she needs to keep track of your stuff.
Well, my numbers aren't anywhere near that high.
We can get there. So, Dad, Jordan Cox said that he wants to know if you're going to be on here all week because he can listen to you for hours.
Jordan Cox.
That's what he said, yeah.
I was only invited for one day.
If you guys wanted to come back, let me know. We can work it in. I mean, if we gotta, I was gonna have Billy on tomorrow. If we had to push him back,
I might make a cameo later in a week or something.
You never know.
Jeff McCleary asks, what are your views on payback if someone wrecks you?
What's the what now?
What are your views on payback if someone wrecks you?
I don't like it because people get hurt when that happens, I mean, it's not good all the way around. If the tracks would police it a little bit more, I don't think you would have that issue. But a lot of tracks, they just think it's part of the show, and you're gonna crash somebody or spin him out or something. Well, that's all right, that's the show. But that's not the way I was brought up or raised, and it's not the way I race other people. I try to race people, with some respect, and I give them a little respect, and hopefully they do it back to me. And with paybacks, that could draw in some other people that that are innocent bystanders. And I don't like it, but sometimes your temper gets the best of you, right, Mike?
Yeah, I've been there. Would you say that it changes?
What do they call that? The door dance, or was that the Trump dance?
Would you say that it
I
changes?
know exactly where you're coming from. Believe me, I've been there, had it happen to me.
Yep.
I'm too old to jump on hoods anymore, but I could wheel a guy, and I'd after the race, giving him a bumper or rub rail or something. But been there, done that, but it's tough.
It is. It's very. There's a lot that goes into
a lot
this.
of emotions, and if you didn't have no emotions, you wouldn't be a good race car driver. Believe me.
For sure. For sure. I mean, I don't think you'd have the ambition to put the work in that it takes to do this, because I don't think a lot of people realize what goes into it overall.
And that's what we're working on. We're showing them this stuff.
That's the worst part of it. The fans don't understand the hours and the sacrifice drivers put into their cars and stuff. And at least I know you work on yours as hard as I do or Billy does. And you get kind of pissed when somebody runs over and smashes it up, after you just get done spending how many hours hanging a brand new body,
Yeah.
But,
Would you say that as a whole has changed a lot through the years, or is it more of just like who you're racing against and what track you're at?
I think, I mean, I race with a lot of inexperienced drivers, at certain tracks, and I kind of understand that they're going to screw up, and sometimes they take me with them, and I understand that. But when a good driver lays it on me, then I get pissed. But to answer your question anyway, back in the day, you had to look at it a little different. You built your car. You didn't go out and buy a car. You didn't go buy a frame and a body and have it all put together. You built it I used to build my cars out of street car frames, 55 Chevy, and cut it out in a car, build your own rub rails, cut bodies off of gremlins and weld them on. And I think at least the smart drivers knew you tore your stuff up. You just didn't pick up the phone and call McNeil, hey, I need a new front axle, a right side rub rail, and all this stuff, because you didn't. You had to go to the junkyard and buy it. And I think it makes for a little bit different kind of racing. And I noticed even in our racing, there's a lot of richer kids that don't understand racing. They just drive the car, jump out, go play a video game or text their friends on the phone, and their daddies, take care of the car and hire people to work on it. That's great too. I mean, we need everybody. Don't get me wrong. And I ain't jealous of nobody. If I was that way, I'd have my daddy pay for my race car too, and I'd be out doing something different too. But it's just the way life is today. And I think they race a little bit different, not knowing how much work and time goes into it to fix the car. That's my take on it, but and you see the guys that really, really get upset, like maybe you and me, when we get run over and trash our body up, that we spend a lot more time on our cars than they do.
Not only that, I get the feeling of, man, that body looked ugly all last year because it was already beat up, and I finally got a nice looking car to show off, and you wrecked it. That doesn't go well.
That was like, was it 3 years ago when we went to Volusia and had a brand new body and just got dumped into the first day or something?
Yeah, things happen. I mean, racing's racing, I used to laugh. I ran Grandview for a year straight. And don't get me wrong, I like Grandview, but man, they're a tough bunch up there. And back in the day, you come in with new panels on it, was like, I'm going to hit you in the warm-ups and crush that thing in. You ain't supposed to have new panels, Whoa. I couldn't leave there with nothing. Something had to be bent, and that was the last thing you want to put on new sheet metal because man, they'd aim for you then.
I don't know how. I mean, I love Grandview too. I think the racing there is some of the best that you can have with modifieds, and I don't know how guys go there with new bodies every year.
Oh, yeah. It's tough. I mean, they put on good racing there. It's tight. It's really tight, and they do a lot of rubbing and banging there, and that's acceptable. It just ain't my kind of racing. Like I said, I tried it for a year, and it's like, woo, I don't think I can do this no more. And but I can go in on a special 76 lapper, 100 lapper, because you got more time. But a regular 25 lapper, you got to get with the program and get to the front. And sometimes you step on some toes getting there, and then the next week, I mean, you walk through the pits and there's a lot of people talking about paybacks. It's like, oh, I owe him one, I owe him one. It's like, man, if I went out there and owed everybody, I wouldn't be able to concentrate on winning the race because I had to pay so many people back.
So, okay. So your buddy over here, Steve Harbat, he asked, what are you doing to keep in fighting shape during this extended off season?
I'm just in shape all the time, Steve. Come on. I work every day. I don't need to get in shape. I'm in shape.
He's mentally and physically in shape. It just comes natural.
I don't have a public service job where I can lean on a shovel like some other people I know.
Steve.
I gotta get with the program, lift and bend.
He's probably on vacation right now.
Yeah,
he's probably on vacation.
And getting paid for it.
Exactly.
That's
you
one
said
thing
you're always
about
building something.
racing that people don't understand either. When you're a professional race car driver, you work all week on your car and somebody crashes you, you make nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the racetrack and you get rained out, you make nothing. You go there, the motor blows up, you make nothing, but you still have the week's worth of work to get there, and then come back and wash the car, clean it all up, change the motor, another week's worth of work that you hope you're going to make something. Mm-hmm. And some people just don't realize that. It's like, oh, you're so lucky you get to race, which I am, but there's weeks that it ain't so lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't qualify, you get nothing.
Yeah, right.
For example,
but
yesterday,
if you're doing it for a living, you better not have to be I don't qualify.
Yeah.
When you might want to start looking for another way of making a living if you're worried about qualifying.
Rayoli asks, Billy, you met a lot of interesting people through racing, I'm sure. Is there anyone in the racing world that you would like to meet that you haven't met before?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's probably a lot of people.
The Snake. Did you end up meeting him?
Who?
Wasn't it the Snake? Was he? Right? No.
Yeah, the
right?
drag racer.
What's his name? The Snake.
Oh, I got to meet Don Perdue.
Okay, you did.
I'd like to meet John Force.
Okay, there we go.
John Force he seems like
a character.
He's awesome.
He's one of my idols because he come from nothing. Mm. But I went to Ray Abraham's 60th birthday party and got to meet Don Perdue and got my picture with him. And I was supposed to go sit down at Ray's induction dinner. And I was seated right next to him, but somebody else went like you in my place because I couldn't go.
That's us.
And
I got to sit next to him.
But yeah, there's a lot of people. You watch these people race on TV and stuff, and it's like I'd like to meet them. Yeah. There's a lot of people. I guess John Force would be a big one. There's probably some IndyCar drivers, the Rutherfords and Al Unser and all them. I'd like to meet and stuff. I just doing what I did through the years. I never really got into different forums to meet people. Probably being friends with Ray Abraham, I met the most people in Winston Cup because of Ray. Know Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and all them. I like to meet Junior Earnhardt.
Okay.
He'd be neat to meet, or even be on his radio show. And he seems like a pretty interesting person. And there's a lot of people I'd like to meet.
This one hits home with me. Chris Calkins says, I would love to see Billy Pauch win another Fulton Victoria 200. For me, that's a huge one because I grew up racing at Fulton, watching my dad race there, and you just won an unbelievable amount of those in a row. And it was like you were the guy to beat at that big event every year. And it was such a huge thing that we waited for every single year for you to, for you to come up and race in that. So that was special to me to watch.
I wouldn't rule it out. I'd never rule anything out. I never say never. My father always taught me never say never because you'll eat your words. But I don't see it happening. But last year I didn't see me going back to Fonda, and I went to
True.
Fonda and I loved it. I remember how much I liked Fonda and stuff, and I just didn't like the 5-hour ride.
Or the
It's
result.
just like Fulton. I love Fulton. I thought it was one of the raciest tracks I ever driven on. It was so wide and 4 wide, and and I had a lot of success there and won 5 or 6 of them Victoria 200s. But I can't say I'll never do it. Hey, man, this might be the year. If we get to August and I haven't raced, that might be my forte to come out and run all the specials at the end of the year just to fill my bucket, So, hey, this might be the year. You might see me at Fulton. You never know. We don't start racing until August. I got to do something. I got to at least get 20 races in or something to keep me happy.
Have you ever seen a year like that where there was so many rainouts that per se everybody's equipment was fresh and it just seemed like the car counts were ridiculous at the end of the year for all the big shows or something like that?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we see coming.
That's what we're coming into now, man. It's going to be like a bunch of caged gorillas getting out and getting in race cars and talk about paybacks. It may be nasty out there. When they figure out when you got so many races to win a race, it's going to be pretty wild.
That's true. That's true. Do you, I'm sure we can do this all day, but I definitely know we're over 30 minutes, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, we've hit 30 minutes. Yeah, I just wanted to see, is there any other question?
I got another 10 minutes till lunch.
Oh, an extra 10 minutes. All right.
This has been really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. I know there's somebody said it's John Force's birthday. He's a May the 4th. Be with you.
John Force's birthday is today, actually.
Today?
That's what someone
Really?
said. So, good question, Dad. John Doe asked if me and my video camera occasionally drive you nuts.
If you drive me nuts?
With the video camera stuff.
No, I really,
He's gotten better at it.
She'll sneak in and take videos, and I don't even know she's taking them. I just got to watch her picking my nose or doing something bad.
I cut those parts.
They get edited, I guess. But, you just scratch the wrong part of your body or something, Get put on videotape. I got to watch her that way, But thank God she's my daughter. She wouldn't put that on her videos. But you never know when she's got the camera out.
No. I feel like everyone nowadays in the pits are like, they know now that's what I do. So they're kind of like, Mandy's coming. Hide.
One of the questions was about sponsors. And I'm sure for a lot of people, they're concerned that sponsors will back out because of what's going on and everything. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your sponsors
Kevin owns the car, Kevin Bofoco, and he's got a excavating, trucking, recycling place down there in Brunswick. And I'm talking to him. His guys are all working and they're staying pretty steady. And I feel pretty confident, with Kevin there. I haven't talked to Bob Green with Pioneer yet. I called him a couple times. He must. I don't know. I never leave messages, so I heard he's pushing his crews back out, and he's got to make money to sponsor me, so that's concerning with a lot of people because if you don't have sponsorship, it's kind of hard to race. I talked to First Choice, Nick Conti, and everybody that sponsors me are kind of essential in a way, and they're still working. For First Choice, Nick Conti and Donnie Bish with Husqvarna and stuff with the mowers and chainsaws. So I kind of feel we'll be all right when it opens up. I kind of feel I'll get prorated because I didn't put a full season in, and maybe get cut back on the sponsorship, but that's understandable. It's you don't put in 20 shows and you only put in 10, so you maybe get half of what you're going to be allotted for the year. And I understand that. I just sponsorship's such a big part of racing anymore, and a lot of you can't much hardly do it on your own unless you're rich.
Yeah. So basically, don't spend all your sponsorship money the first day you get it.
Right.
Jay Gerns asks, he ran a mod in the 90s, and he'd like to know what your thoughts are on a big rubber small block now.
Oh, the big what?
Rubber small block?
So if they had drag rubber and alcohol small blocks now, what would you think?
Well, they're the motors progressed a lot since we ran in the 80s, so they picked up a lot more horsepower. I mean, back in I guess it was the 90s, I ran Windsor. I had a 339 Shavers sprint cart motor, and that thing had to been 50, 100 horse better than anybody there. I mean, that thing was unbelievable with drag tires and stuff. And I used to come from 18th to the lead in 3 to 4 laps. I mean, it was like they were tied on good nights, but they've made a lot of gains, even with the specs for, I can't remember what that motor made for power back then, but, with these spec motors we're making 6+, the cars handle a lot better than back then with the smaller tires. So it'd be hard to compare apples to apples from then to now, but the drag tires, the only thing I remember with them, they did ride a lot nicer. They had a lot more cushion to them, so you could get through the holes a lot better than the short sidewall tires, and a lot better than these coil cars. They're just like kidney busters.
Someone had asked earlier, what's one of the oldest cars that you have, you've stored?
I just bought back my 1976 Sportsman car. I think it was last year or the year before. They restored it. Some people restored it, Larry Fleming, and he restored it and stuff and had it for about 10 years. And you get to a point, it's like, well, what do I do with this thing? So his son races, and I knew they tore their car up pretty bad. And I had just sold a big block and had some extra money, and I offered him I think it was 8,000. I sold the motor. I said, look, I got 8,000 cash here. I just sold a motor, and I know you guys need money to put your car back together. And they took it, and they were happy, and I was happy, and it worked out for all parties. And I have that, which is very special to me. It was a good car. I won a lot of races with it, 28 races in 1 year. So that was pretty special. I kept my 2000 Tobias car. That was the last car I won the Grandview 76er and the Coal Cracker with in the same year. And I still have that car. It's a small body car.
Wasn't I the last one winning it, though?
Yeah, Mandy won a powder puff with it.
I was the last one winning it.
I did run it maybe 2-3 years, 2001, 2 or 3 or something. And Mandy did win a powder puff when she got old enough with it. I kept the original body that I won the Sixer with and put that back on it, and that's over my pole barn too. I keep a lot of stuff. I have a lot of uniforms, helmets, racing papers, pit
Clean
tools.
waters.
I got my pit jack, my T-wrench, and fuel cans from back in the 70s and stuff. I don't know. I'm sort of a pack rat, and I'm trying to put that over in my pole barn on display and stuff. Like I said, even if I walk by and look at it, it brings a smile back to me.
There's a couple fans asking if you have any new One merchandise coming or where they can purchase it.
We haven't come up with no new T-shirts with this virus and stuff out there. We were planning on doing something for our open house, and
Currently on hold.
everything's kind of on hold like the rest of the world right now. We just got to make sure everybody gets through this thing safe and alive, and that's,
So you sold out all your new shirts from earlier.
Pretty close, yeah. If we've sold out.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
sold out. We had stuff for
We
motorsports
did
and
have new
stuff, and we sold out. We do have maybe some old shirts and stuff. You can get in contact with Mandy or something, and she can email you a picture of it or whatever
I'm
if
in
you're
Jersey.
interested.
So John Doe asks, Father, did running a sprint car at Syracuse blow your hair back or make some of your body parts tingle?
Yeah.
I'm reading
well
how he
done.
wrote it.
It
More
would
like,
definitely it would definitely hold you back in the seat. The biggest thing up there, you're going so fast with the air, you had to actually put a cowling on the car so the air didn't get under your helmet and buffalo your head around, because you'd be, you're going down the straightaway and your head's moving around. You're trying to hit your focus points and you can't do it because your head's moving around from the air. The only time your nuts turns to raisins is when you're in the wrong position going into a turn and maybe headed at the wall. But when the car's under control, everything, it wasn't too bad. I know one time I got in there and the car stepped out from under me and it got sideways, and I thought I was going to see God, and I was at the front of the pack, but we got through it, and then a few laps later I did finally crash and get in the wall, but it gets your attention, that's for sure.
So it's 1 o'clock. Mike, is there any question that you saw in particular we should close with?
I did want to kind of get your opinion on this.
Oh.
Rayoli asked Billy, when is Billy the Third going to be ready for his first race? So, like, in your opinion, what's the age when kids are like safe to get in a race car or a go-kart or something?
Well, my son started running a quarter midgets when he was 9 years old. And that was basically because somebody offered him a ride. His first car was a ride, actually. Guy by the name of Ed Winkler out of Trenton, New Jersey, had I can't think of what the name of the car was, but it was a quarter midget. And they were running Wall Stadium, and they asked if Billy would be interested. I'm sure he would, because we ran go-karts. We have a little go-kart track out here, and he'd run with us at home, but I never had the time to really stop my racing and go race with him. So it was convenient, and then he did that for a year, and then I bought him a bull rider. I was fortunate I had some people that would take him to the races and stuff, his grandfather and stuff. So,
like babysitters.
and as far as age-wise, I don't, that's a tough thing. I mean, I like racing. It's a very family-oriented sport, and a lot of people, get into it in the quarter midgets and stuff, and it keeps kids focused on something other than getting in trouble or getting into drugs or something. So, and it's a family sport. The whole family's involved. They usually go to races and stuff, and I don't know. I guess they start at 5 or 6 and quarter midgets, but man, I don't even know if they know what's happening. Little Billy, I'm teaching him to drive a little bit now on my tractors and stuff, and he'll be steering along, and then all of a sudden I'll see him kind of looking over here and say, "Hey, Bill, pay attention where we're going." I don't know if he'd be that way in a quarter midget or not. So I don't know. And it's been a while since my son was 6, so I say probably 6 years old and a quarter midget. And I think they're kind of pushing the age limit a little bit too much with the big cars, getting down to 12, 13 years old with a full-size car, and putting young kids in them. I think that's a little ridiculous. I mean, there's other divisions they can run till they get old enough to get in the bigger cars. I think 16 for full-size race cars, not a bad age, but 12, 11, 10, nah, I don't think that's right.
Makes sense. Sweet. Got anything else, babe?
No, I think this has been a great show. It's good to have you on, and it's nice to see you and talk with you a little bit. I know we haven't been able to get together much lately, so.
I had to leave Mike in New York.
Well, I had to raffle off that car and do my iRacing schedule, so.
Well, when Dad and Billy build their iRace simulator, then you can come down.
Can we practice online against one another and stuff?
Yeah,
we can. That's the fun of it.
I don't know a whole bunch about it. It's like the one I built that simulator that time. We just ran the
DVD.
sprint car video game on it and stuff. And I guess we could have hooked it online and raced against other people, you know.
Yeah, that is the fun of it. I mean, for example, you mentioned wanting to meet some drag racers and stuff. I got to race with Ron Capps yesterday, so that was pretty neat. We're both racing sprint cars. It's not really our main division, but we got to pull some slide jobs on each other on the simulator, so that was fun.
That's cool. That's cool. It's a trying time right now, you know. Nobody knows what to do to keep occupied, and it kind of keeps you in touch with other drivers and stuff and fans, and doing this too, you know. It's we all got to get through this safe and, you know, get through it alive, and be respectful of other people, keep our distance for now, and, you know, hopefully in the future we'll get together and you know, we can have a beer with the fans and talk some old stories again.
He's doing at the end of the show, I always tell people, wash your hands, eat your veggies. You just did it a little bit better though. Thanks. All right, sweet. So this was good. A lot of people are asking for you back, Dad. So we'll let you know if what's going on, who will be on tomorrow. And yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, had a good time. And I enjoy answering the questions, keeping in touch with fans, and keeping racing alive. That's what it's all about. Keeping racing alive, that we're all thinking about it. So when it does open up, people come back and support our racing habits, and we get to see them again, you know, and that's important. It's tough now. We all want to race, but we all want to be safe and not hurt nobody, you know?
Yep. So we'll do our daily dues and stay safe, and it's officially lunchtime.
Enjoy your
So-
lunch.
You too, darling.
All right.
Thanks everyone for hopping on, and we will be back same time tomorrow. See ya.
Yeah.
Take care.